Hey everybody, welcome to Brand Out Live. This is our second edition of this live event that we're doing. It's obviously, we started a podcast a couple of months ago called Brand Out, where we break down brands, talk about what works, what doesn't, what we love, what we hate. And we thought it'd be cool to have these events live. We used to do our marketing meetups where we'd have a speaker, but what we do here is we bring on a panel and we talk to them about their expertise. So today is all about growing your brand through social media. So we're excited. We have an awesome guest today. Also, Casey, he's all right, but we're going to talk a little bit about that here in a second. But first, I want to introduce you to our sponsor for the food. Everybody had some Pete away today. He was our sponsor last time. He said, Tony, I had so much fun. I want to do it again. So he brought the delicious food. Make sure you get some food before you leave, and then take some home with you if there's some left. But I want to introduce you to the one and only Al. Al, come on up here, buddy. Let's give Al a big round of applause.
Hey, how you guys doing?
So, Al, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm great. Happy to be here, back again. I love you guys.
Guess who's back?
Love being here.
Yeah, no, thanks for doing this, man. The food, listen, I've become a Pete Away fanatic, as you know, and I love the food. If you haven't tried Pete Away yet, then go try it right now. Oh, yeah. There's another song. If you haven't tried Pete Away, try it now, because it's right there. But Al's going to tell us a little about it. So, Al, tell everyone who's watching online and who's here today. Tell them a little bit about Pete Away.
So, Pete Away is a Middle Eastern food spot, Mediterranean food with authentic twist to it, right? So it's a lot modern. It's a lot modernized. So you can get a lot of different customizable options. You got a couple different entree options. So you come in and really just customize your own stuff. It's really good. You get a little to try some new stuff. You get to put whatever you like on there. I think you guys should really come try it out for sure.
Absolutely. So I'll tell them, what is a must-try menu item? So the first time I ever went into Pete Away, I had no clue what to get. I spent a little time in Israel probably about 20 years ago, and it's all Mediterranean food, obviously. And I wasn't a huge fan, so I was a little hesitant to try Pete Away, but everyone's like, you got to go try it out. So I came in, I met Al like right away, and I was like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. Just make me what you think. So he made me the Al special. I think that's what I call it at least. And there's actually been times where I've gone to Pete Away and don't see Al there, and I kind of just sneak back out the door. But I'm getting a little more comfortable now with how to make it myself, or how to order it myself at least.
Yeah.
But what is a must-try menu item?
Must try. You have to get the bowl, honestly. Rice-based bowl. Get some dark meat or white meat chicken. That's our specialty, right? Put them on there. We'll guide you through the whole thing. We'll get you guys some recommendations to put on there. But don't feel afraid to try new things, and put whatever you like on there. It's definitely going to be something really good.
Absolutely. I haven't had anything I'm disappointed at. And also the pita chips and hummus are unbelievable. Like absolutely to die for. We always order extra.
Yeah, this guy is always in there for hummus and chips. I'm not gonna.
That's how I keep my girlish figure, Al. What's a menu? Thank you for the one laugh in the back there. What is the one menu item that you think would surprise someone? Like,
honestly, I must go with the pickled cabbage, the torshi.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
torshi.
people.
That's how you say it.
Yeah, torshi.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like I feel like it's not very uncommon, but a lot of people are not like sure when they get it. It's like a first time thing for them.
Is there something you compare it to?
Man, that's a good question. I would say.
Is that like the pink stuff?
No, that's the yellow stuff.
The yellow stuff.
Yeah, the yellow
it's
stuff.
kind of like a
pickled
banana
cabbage.
pepper.
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's pickled in the same brine as the banana pepper.
Okay.
So it's super good. It's got more crunch to it.
Yeah.
It's not as like a lot of people I see
Not
will
as
say
tangy.
that. Yeah, like banana peppers are a little
No
spicy.
spice. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're not as spicy. They're super good.
And if you think banana peppers are spicy, come on now. Like that's nothing. That's not a spicy pepper.
I have to agree with him on that.
All right. Well, last question. Tell the audience and tell people watching at home like where they can find Pete Away physically, like your location, and then also how they can interact with you online.
I got you. Well, Pete Away Michigan on Facebook, or just Pete Away everywhere. If you go on any website, you'll find us on the internet. You'll go find us on all social medias at Pete Away. And if you're trying to find me, it's Al Mohammed at Facebook. Right. For the physical location, we're at 1201 East Main Street. Right. That's right across from Indian Trails. We're right next to Wild Bill's, right on the main street there. So come check us out. Come check us out.
All right, let's give Al a big round of applause. Thank you, Al.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Al. Thanks for being on this. Thanks for sponsoring, brother. We appreciate it. All right, so today, as I said, is all about social media. So if you're here, I'm assuming that either you work on social media in your business, maybe you have a business and you're trying to figure out how do I grow my business through social media. But we're not going to just talk about what social media is, because I'm assuming everybody knows that. We're going to talk about how to really grow your business through social media. And we have an awesome guest here to talk about that. Also, again, we have Casey. So let's introduce you first to our Director of Marketing, Mr. Casey Lambert. Casey, come on in. Oh, he got his own theme.
Come on, make it louder. We're having fun here.
Yeah, lighten up. Let's have fun. Casey, in case you don't know, is a professional wrestler, and he likes to have his entrance music when he comes in.
I love
also,
the air
our guest
quotes.
requested an entrance song, so without further ado, let's bring to you the owner of Lockhart's Authentic, the one and only Mr. Steve Lockhart. Steve, welcome to the show.
Oh man.
So you guys will be sharing a mic there. Obviously, if you want to talk at the same time, you have to get really close to one another, just like
It's okay.
that. All right. So Casey, for those who
Shorts.
don't know you, which most people I think do know you, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, what you do here at AZ, and what role social media plays in that?
Oh, absolutely, man. And thank you again for having me on, Tony. I know I kind of work here,
paid me
but
too.
it's very true. So I am our director of marketing here, which of course means that we are very heavy in terms of use for social media in what we do in terms of our strategy. But I also head up our Grow Social Media Management program that we pioneered here in January, which is a posting plus content plus advertising. So essentially, I get to do the same thing for our customers that I get to do for us, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll talk a little bit more about Grow and what that is as we go on. But before I introduce Steve, I want to tell you, so there is a book, if you are a reader and you want to learn more about social media, Gary Vaynerchuk, anyone ever heard of Gary V? Anyone ever heard of Gary V? Follow him online. If you don't follow Gary V, follow him online. He's got some colorful language. If that doesn't bother you, you'll like Gary V. But he talks a lot about social media and about the type of content to put out, about how to grow your business. And really, he really focuses on what social media will get for you is the number one currency in the world today, and that is attention. So social media can't guarantee you sales. It can't guarantee you, necessarily more customers, but it can bring you attention. And that's what we all want, right? We just want to get attention on our great product, on our great services. So this is an awesome book. There's a digital version, Day Trading Attention by Gary V. Get that book, check it out. It's a really good read. And there's a lot of case studies and examples in there as well. So I'd like to introduce you to our guest. So I'm not going to talk about him too much, but Steve is always in character. He's got the beautiful little mustache there. And he is the owner, as I said, the founder of Lockhart's Authentic. And so, Steve, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and about Lockhart's?
Yeah, like you said, Tony, I'm Steve Lockhart. I am the founder, the president, and chief disruptions officer with Lockhart's Authentic. Yeah. I mean that's really what we do. We're attention, like you said, Tony. We're gonna talk about that a lot.
If you've seen their stuff, it will grab your attention for sure.
Yeah. So we're in a space. We make men's grooming products, so hair products, shaving products, fragrances. A space that's pretty stuffy, frankly. Yeah. And I'm not that kind of person. I'm actually kind of loud and obnoxious a little bit. Yeah, a little weird. Authentic though. I mean, so I started it off just being as authentically me as I possibly could, and that resonated with people. And I recognized that there's actually something here. People don't like this boring, kind of stuffy marketplace for men's grooming products. They want something that's a little more exciting, want something that's a little different. And I've had people compare like the way that we do it, and we're not quite to their level, but to brands like Liquid Death, how they just took something like water and then just made it kind of metal and kind of awesome. And we're trying to do the same. And we make just really interesting, wacky fragrances and just really great hair products that we can't just stand on wicked wild marketing. We actually make good products.
Good products as well. And it's a company that started right here in Shiawassee County, right out of your home, and I'll let you talk a little more about that. But it's now a global brand, and the growth of that company has been heavily influenced by social media. So we'll talk about that. So tell us how you got started with Lockhart's.
So it all kind of started out of necessity for me. Me and my wife, we were young, broke, didn't have much to our name. I was selling cars at the time. I was selling cars out at Graff and Durand, And no, I love those guys.
Did you have the mustache when you were selling cars?
Oh hell yeah, I did. Of
Okay.
course I did. Can I swear on this?
Okay, go ahead, man.
Okay,
You do
I'll
you
try
do
to.
after the fact.
Authenticity, yeah. Excuse me. I mean, at least I didn't drop a big
It's called
one yet.
Lockhart's Authentic, so you have to be
Exactly.
authentic, yeah.
And our best-selling product's called Goon Grease. We're all pretty much a bunch of goons, so just
Yeah.
kind of expect it. But anyway, I was selling cars. Before that, I was wrenching on cars, and I just had a buzz cut, but I figured I'd grow it out, look a little nicer, and my hair was melting, like literally melting in the hot pavement, walking around the blacktop all day, and nothing was holding it up. And so I was looking at the jars, and I was like, I could probably make that. And so I just took my wife's pots and pans and spoons, and Missy knows her. And I just started getting the ingredients all together, made my own product, and sure enough, my hair stayed up, and I looked halfway decent. And then my friends started using it, and then they were like, "Hey, you should try selling online." And I was like, "I don't know where to do that." So Etsy, I started there.
Yeah.
And
You must have been a pretty early adopter of Etsy because it hasn't been around for a real long time.
it was 2013, so I don't know when Etsy started, but I don't think there was any Shopify's or Squarespaces or any of those at the time. So it was just the only place that I could do it. And I actually. Speaking of social media, at the time there was a big social media group called Addicted to Pomade, and I was making a pomade. And so I joined this group, and I told people about this product I was making, and they all got really excited. And I started shipping it out to them, let them try it, and then they started talking about it, and next thing you know, it started growing pretty rapidly. There was a guy on Tumblr of all places.
Yeah.
That's one that we didn't
That
even
still
talk about on that.
It still exists. But
It's pretty much
barely.
extinct.
It's holding on, like MySpace.
Yeah, but it was a big blogger. Yeah. He had caught word of our brand, and people had been asking him. So what he did was he reviewed hair products, and he had people kept asking, "When are you going to try some of this like homemade hair products that we're finding on Etsy? This stuff called Goon Grease. Everyone's talking about it online." And he's like, "I'm not going to use some shit that some guy made in his kitchen. There's no way I'm gonna mess around with that." And my wife woke me up at like 11:30 at night one night, telling me about this. And I was just like, "Well, this guy can go himself, And I messaged him directly. I had to create a Tumblr account, did that, and and
I
I
don't
just
think I've
said,
ever made a Tumblr account yet.
yeah.
I was holding out. I'm like, not doing it.
I have one post on Tumblr to this day, and it was just me saying, "Look, buddy, I didn't realize that it was all public too, so I'm just doing this all publicly." And I'm like, "Look, if you don't like what I'm doing, how about I send you a jar? If you hate it, tell everyone you hate it." And this guy, he had like 50,000 followers on Tumblr, so like
That's
he was
impressive.
a legend at it,
I didn't even know 50,000 people were on Tumblr. So he had everyone.
Yeah, but I said, if you hate it, tell everyone, and whatever. But if you love it, I want you to do the same. And then he started his own website. He got it, and it was his favorite product he'd ever used of hundreds of products he'd used. And so he started his own blog, started his own YouTube, and it just it was influencer marketing before there was a name for influencer marketing.
Yeah.
I was actually sending my products to my barber. He told me, "Why aren't you on Instagram?" I was like, "What the hell is Instagram? Like, what is all this stuff?" Yeah. I'm sounding like an old man, but he was like,
I'm on Tumblr.
Yeah.
I'm not going on
I'm
Instagram.
I'm like, I'm figuring this out, right? And he's like, "No, man, you got to get on Instagram because there's people posting hashtag Goon Grease all over Instagram." And I was like, "What the hell's a hashtag?" I'm just confused out of my mind. All right, I'll start an Instagram. And that takes off. But anyway, the kind of the notoriety that I received just from this one guy, he really kind of catapulted us.
Yeah.
And what he started to do was every product that he reviewed from there on out, he always would compare back to, well, it compares to the Lockhart's this product or Lockhart's this product.
That's
so
awesome.
I wasn't just getting the notoriety from the first post.
Lots of name drops, yeah.
Just name drop after name drop. And yeah, and he had a lot of people trusted him within the community. So
well, and that's what I want people to understand is that is the power of social media. Literally, your product, your services, your business could be one social media post away from really blowing things up for you. It really, really can. Now, can you build your business model around the hope that I'm going to make a post that's going to blow my business up? Probably not. But the reason that you should be using social media, that you should be making content, that you should be consistent with it, is because that is where the attention is. And if you want more attention for your business, which who doesn't? If people tell me, oh, my business is fine, I don't need more business, I'm like, it must be nice, right? Because we all could use more clients. And honestly, in the realm of social media, it could take something that is something that's small and blow it up overnight. And so you need to be utilizing social media. So tell us just real briefly here where Lockhart's is today. You started 2013, so 12 years ago, and kind of how you've grown today into what you are, and then maybe a little bit about the role that social media has played in that growth.
Oh, so social media has been probably 95% of our business, honestly.
Yeah.
All of this stuff has happened, and barbershops have found us, distributors have found us, suppliers have found us. We're now sold in, God, I think I've done wholesale business on pretty much every continent except for maybe Antarctica at this point. I mean, I know. I'm working on it.
Maybe there's someone there on Tumblr.
You know what?
I haven't been on.
I need that second post.
I feel like Antarctica Tumblr is it's a hopping place.
It is. It's hot. But yeah, no. So social media. Right now, we've got distribution all over Europe. This morning I was just talking with our distributor out of Hungary. Spoke with our Spain distributor. I still keep myself in contact with all of these people. Like I like to be a part of as much of it as I possibly can. But we have 2 manufacturing facilities now. We've got one out in Longmont, Colorado, and then one just outside of Houston, down in Texas.
So you're not making it with your wife's utensils anymore?
Not anymore.
Pans and pots?
Nope. We moved it out of our house probably like 2016, 2017.
I'm sure she was happy about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was. It actually got to the point where we literally had pallets of ingredients or shipments sitting in our living room because we didn't have a garage. So we were looking around work just to watch TV at the end of the night. Yeah. And we, my wife's sister, so my wife's parents, they both passed away in the same year. And that was actually the year that I quit my day job, dropped out of college, and started Lockhart's. And we got guardianship of my wife's little sister at the time. And that just so happened to be a good time to say, we better move this out of our house because we can't have a 17-year-old living with us and having to maneuver pallets of chemicals and God knows what.
Yeah.
So we worked with Randy Woodworth and got us a space over in Perry. And my friend Missy Dora over there is one of our first employees, actually. So she's witnessed a lot of the chaos. I think you were there when we invented Fire and Brimstone, one of our best-selling line of products, one of our craziest scents that I'm actually wearing it right now. So, Oh, good. This vest does not, though. It's a true battle vest. It should never be cleaned.
Well, maybe Missy is the key ingredient because Missy worked for me years ago too. So maybe like the key to having a successful brand is at some point you got to bring Missy on the team.
She'll propel you. She turns that flywheel.
Shout out to Missy Dora. Yeah.
No kidding. Maybe we need to get Missy up here and just let her do this.
One of these times. So, I think that, obviously Lockhart's is an incredible case study of why social media can work and how it can work and how it can propel your business, your brand, your products, again, your services. And I also think that AZ is a great case study for that as well, because this business has been 95% built on social media. We didn't have an active sales department until about a year and a half ago. And when we brought Casey on, and when I say department, it's a one-man sales department. And so most of the business we've done and the growth we've experienced has been because people see us on social media. Most of you are here today because you saw us on social media. We had a sold-out event. We cut off ticket sales. Some of the people didn't show up, but we still sold the tickets. And so if you're not, I'm assuming, again, that you're here because you believe I should be doing this. But maybe you are not for some reason, or maybe you don't know where to get started, or maybe you don't know how, what, when, how often, what platform should I be posting on Tumblr. Maybe you're like, I don't know what I should be
Probably
doing.
Not.
And so we hope that we can kind of clear up some of that stuff for you today. We're going to leave time at the end for a Q&A. But really, there's kind of 4 parts to how we approach social media. First, we start with a strategy, and we're going to talk about that first. And then we go into content. What type of content do we want to make? How often? How do the different platforms reward the different types of content? And then we go into organic content versus paid. And then really it comes down to, we are going to allocate a certain part of our budget towards running ads. And we're going to have a really concentrated time to talk to Steve about Facebook ads, because that's something that they're doing extremely actively and having a lot of results with. So when it comes to developing a strategy, okay, so like if you're right now in the moment where you're like, every day I get up and I think, what should I post on social media today? Then you're already way behind, right? Now, if that's all you're doing, still keep doing something. Like posting something is better than posting nothing. But if you take a strategic approach, it's going to be a lot better for you. So we are thinking about our social media 4 to 6 weeks in advance. And that doesn't mean we don't post stuff in the moment. Like this event is happening right now, and we have people behind you, around you, taking pictures, taking videos. They're posting Instagram stories. Social media is happening right now as we speak. However, we are also have posts that are scheduled out into July. We've thought through what are some of the things we want to post. So you got to start by having a strategy, and that comes from identifying who's your audience, who am I going after, who do I want to see my stuff, who are they, where do they live, and then you talk about your goals. What do I want to get out of social media? Do I want to just have more followers? Do I want to get more engagement, et cetera, et cetera? So, Casey, what's one thing that you do when we start doing social media strategy, whether it be for us or for a client? What's one thing you do first when developing a strategy for someone?
All right. Tony said I have to keep these brief, even though we just had Coach T's tips and the State of the Goonion address over here.
The State of the Goonion.
But I will keep this brief. So it's basically the same thing you do in all marketing efforts, and that is to find your target audience, cultivate your buyer persona.
What's a buyer persona?
Buyer persona is a real life representation of what your target market looks like. It's really helpful in marketing to put a name and a personality and hobbies and interest on that. So if you guys haven't done buyer personas, I highly suggest you do them.
Yeah, so it's a fictitious character that you make up that represents somebody you want to work with.
Yeah, so Avatar is a good one too.
You ask the question about how do they shop, where do they shop, et cetera, et cetera. So obviously we know there's a lot of different social media platforms. Do you recommend that people post everywhere all at once, or should they take a more targeted approach when they're starting out?
It's really like there's a lot of contingency on the size of your business or how many people you have doing it. I always like to say, use that buyer persona to inform where your target market hangs out, right? They could be hanging out on TikTok, they could be hanging out on Snapchat, or like a majority of the world, they're hanging out on Facebook and Instagram. Focus your efforts towards those platforms as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, and I would say if you're a small business, if there's one platform you should be posting on, it's still Facebook. It's still Facebook. I mean, right, it's maybe not as popular with some age demographics, but like 70% of the U.S. population is on Facebook. So that's everybody, right? I mean, it's everyone that can have it. So you should be active there. Steve, when you started Lockhart's, did you have like a clear social media strategy, or did it evolve over time?
Oh, it evolved over time. There was hardly a strategy to start a business.
Yeah. Yeah, you just wanted to make some
Just
hair.
your wife's pots and pans.
Yeah, voice pots and pans, and we fell into it. Yeah, people started finding us. But the reason they found us was because of social media, and Facebook had a huge part to do with it. That I mentioned that Facebook group early on that kind of propelled us a little bit. Well, that group, it became really elitist and really just like, there were guys that were, so there's different types of hair products, and I don't want to get into it too far, but there's like water-based, oil-based, those sort of things. And like the old school greasers started this group, and they basically got to the point where they're like, if you're not using oil-based hair grease, don't even post. Like they're deleting posts. They're saying, get out of here. We don't want to talk to you. And I was like,
They were grease snobs.
They were grease snobs. It was really weird. Yeah. And I was just like, forget this. And me and two other guys, one guy, he went on to found a company called the Damon Barber out of the United Kingdom. And then another guy, his name was Randall. He was just an enthusiast. He's since passed away. But we started a new group called Everything Pomade. And just, I just openly said to the admins in this other group, I was like, you guys are kind of assholes, and you're treating the people that are in here poorly. And like, these people are my customers. They're the people that a lot of them are my friends. And I just invited everybody to come join our group. And then literally every single one of them, pretty much every single one joined it. And then we started promoting it and got a lot of people into it.
Big middle finger to
big
hair grease.
That's really what it was at the time, was just a middle
big
finger.
hair.
And a lot of what we do is just a middle finger. But the social media early on was just like, let's just do weird stuff. Anything that people are going to look at and pay attention to, and then they'll find out who we are.
And I think
Yeah.
I think what makes Lockhart's unique is that, you know, a lot of companies get stuck in the mud of trying to replicate what everyone else is doing that seem to be successful. Well, they sell the same thing as me and they had success, so let me try to do that. And I'm not saying that you can't gain inspiration from other people. We do it all the time. But what Lockhart's would be considered what's called in the marketing world a disruptor, meaning they looked at what everybody else is doing and said, we're going to do something completely different. We're going to be opposite. We're going to do what they tell you not to do. We're going to do the opposite of what they say a good hair product company should do. We're going to market it differently. We're going to look differently. And they realize, we talked about discerning your target audience. They realize early on, this is not for everybody. And they're okay with that. And so what you have to understand is, your products and services are not necessarily for everybody. Defining who you're going after is really going to help you determine what type of content you should make. So tell us a little bit about how you were able to start kind of defining your audience over time.
Actually, that Facebook group had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, as I saw it grow from 1,000 people to 10,000 people to more. Now there's also a Reddit group that I'm not an admin of that one, but I know the guy. He's actually a customer of mine. He runs. Yeah, he's a distributor. But that's got over 20,000 people in it now. And so just kind of getting to know what these people are like and what their interests are. And so this group, I started it and I formed it as though I want this to be a place almost like the kind of banter that you would get in a barbershop. Don't just talk about hair products. Don't just talk about this. Don't anything like that. I want to know, what are your interests? What kind of things are you guys into? So people started talking more about, the concerts they were going to. And I actually noticed a lot of people that were in our space, they were really into like punk rock and heavy metal. And it was really strange. And I was, because, I'm an old heavy metal kid. I grew up in the Flint scene, and nobody was into grooming. Like, everyone smelled bad and everyone had long, crappy. Yeah, exactly. So I was like, what's going on here? But that scene was growing up, and they were kind of in the same spot as I was, where I was, okay, I'm an adult now and I need to look decent and I need to go out and try to get a job and, be professional.
Yeah.
And I just started building my marketing around those types of people, and that apparently is significantly different than every other hair product brand out there that's trying to go after, their, your real polished model looking types. But I was just like, I figured there's a lot more normal average men in the world than there are models. So I'd rather post a picture of Joe Schmo down the street who's wrenching on his car using our hair product than I would, want to get, I don't know,
Wall Street lawyer.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, some big wig Wall Street lawyer or model posting about our products.
Yeah.
I got a lot of insight from that, and I thought that there's a lot more normal dudes out there than Wall Street lawyers.
Well, and again, I think that comes down to, again, identifying that audience. Would you rather 100,000 people see your content who would never buy from you, or would you rather 100 people see your content who are looking for what you're selling? And that's really where sometimes people get frustrated by the algorithms. We're going to touch on that a little bit, because I put my stuff out and only 100 people saw it, or only 200 people saw it. And so don't diminish that, because it's probably the 200 people who are most likely to buy from you. So we'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. So, we talked a little bit about, starting with strategy, and we could talk all day just about that. But then it goes into the content, right? Scheduling the content, creating the content, what type of content we should use. I think a question that we get all the time is, how often should I post? So Casey, what would you say is a good answer to that question?
Again, just circling back, it's contingent upon your capabilities of your business and the size of your business. But I mean, the simple answer is this: just as much as you possibly can. That's the simple answer.
That's a good answer. And so, Steve, what type of content have you had the most success with? So there's text content, there's photos and graphics, there's video content, there's live video, there's podcasting. Like, what are the types of content you've had the most success with?
It's a mixed bag. Honestly, it's a mixed bag between like videos and memes.
Yeah.
Really, nowadays, memes really, really, really work.
Yeah.
People just want to be entertained when they're
Yeah.
scrolling. And even, you could even say a lot of the videos that are my most successful, that we get the most return on, they're more meme-ish, It's not super serious content. It's more fun, playful, authentic.
Well, and I think this comes down to, again, knowing your brand. We're a disruptor on purpose.
Yeah.
And knowing your audience, right? So if you're, you own a funeral home, what you might post might need to be a little more
different.
appropriate than what someone like Steve could post, right? So part of it is knowing your audience. But Steve's thinking already, like, if I own a funeral home, here's what I would do.
We're talking about the guy, the guy over here who pitched me an idea to film a goon wrestling match over here. So
Yeah,
I
so
want to get a big giant foam goon head and put it on
let
him.
this guy wear.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I think, again, knowing who you are, like, who are you going after? Are the people you're going after very serious and stuffy and, wearing a suit and tie? Or are the people you're going after a little more laid back? Are they punk rock? Are they a little more casual? Is it a younger group? Is it an older group? And knowing what those things are is going to help dictate the type of content you make. Steve, I want to ask, what would be a piece of advice you'd give to people who they're just intimidated by making content? They don't feel creative enough. They don't know how to do it. Like, think about the small business owner. I mean, at one point it was just you and your wife, and a lot of people here, it's just them. They're running a business. What type of advice would you give them of how to get started by making content?
Oh man, have no shame. I guess that's one angle.
Don't take yourself too seriously.
Don't take yourself too serious, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fail. It's all testing, really. When it comes to social media, when it comes to advertising, any of those things, it's just testing. Test all the different angles.
Right.
Especially if you've kind of figured out who your customer is. Test angles that you believe are going to resonate with them, but also be open to angles that you may otherwise think there's no way that this is going to work.
Right.
Some of my best advertisements that I've got the most return on have been surprising.
Yeah, you didn't think it was going to go anywhere.
Yeah, and
that's been the case for us as well. Many times something we think it's not going to do anything. It's just kind of a post because we got to get something out, and it takes off. So you never know what people are going to resonate with.
Yes, and I do think that there's actually right now there's a good way to test a lot of different angles, and I say test it with just simple static images, not with video right up front. I say test with those statics and then figure out what angle in those statics works, and then put the time and energy into video content, into reels, into those, and then into long form content, podcasts, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So something we say here, we kind of developed what we call the 4 E's of social media, is that in the course of your social media month, your content should do all of these 4 things in some fashion. So it should educate, tell people who you are, what you do, why you do it, why you're the best, why they should come to you, why they're better than the competitor, whatever. Educate. It should entice, meaning make people want to buy from you, make people want to look at your website, visit your forum. But if it's all entice, like entice content should be like a very small portion of it, because you can't just pitch. And then it should engage, meaning you should be making content where you're trying to get a response from people. You want to hear back from them. You want to hear what they have to say. And then there's just the entertain. Social media is a social place. It's a place people come not to be constantly pitched or not to constantly get ads. There's a place for it. But ads, again, and organic, we're going to shift over to talking about organic content versus paid ads. People will follow you if you have content that's interesting, that they enjoy, that there's an entertainment value to it. And so you think, well, I'm a very serious business. How do I entertain people? Entertainment doesn't always have to be happy-go-lucky, silly, goofy. There's lots of ways to do that. And so, man, there's some great tools out there and to figure out some ideas. Obviously, we're always a resource that's happy to help. But there really are, this third part is determining what content am I going to create that's just going to be organic content, meaning content I'm just going to put out there to engage, entertain, entice, all of those things. The content that's going to be the daily post, the stuff that I'm trying to get people's attention with. And then there's my paid content. And so, Casey, let me ask you some questions about this. So, we talked a little bit difference between organic and paid, but what are the platforms right now that you think give the most reward or the most value to organic content?
Well, it really is about the balance, and I like to use the acronym because, of course, I use acronyms. ANS, right? You need awareness content, you need nurturing content, you need conversion content. So the best bang for the buck, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I said ANS, didn't I?
You did. That's all right. I love to correct you, so it's good.
It's true. I need correcting sometimes. So You need the awareness, you need the nurturing, and you need the conversion content. And when it comes to which platform not only supports that the best, but also the one where people are used to that kind of cycle, Facebook and Instagram, Meta properties. I'm not a Mark Zuckerberg fan, but what they've built at Meta supports that the best for businesses.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you then balance? We talked about fun and creative content. We talked about serious content or stuff that's to the point. How do you balance the fun and creative content with conversion-based content?
Well, typically when we strategize, and we typically do it in the course of a quarter, so 3 months worth of content for us, we post every day. For our clients, sometimes it's 3 to 5 posts a week for something. But I try to follow a 40-40-20 model. So 40% awareness content, 40% that nurturing content, which is your social proof, your testimonials, your reviews, and things like that. And then 20% conversion content. Because if you follow the general rules of the buyer's journey in marketing, you have to get somebody to know who you are first. Then you have to get somebody to trust you and your product and your service. And only then will they be able to take that last portion, which is the conversion. So typically 40-40-20. But you have to be able to pivot as well.
That's great. And I think that, this is why understanding the difference between organic and paid is important, because many times the paid ad content that you're putting out, it's not going to show up on your news feed. It's not going to be the stuff that your regular followers are necessarily seeing unless you're targeting them specifically. And so the stuff that people are just engaging with on a day-to-day basis and following you by is important to understand the difference there. I want to talk just for a second about the algorithms, because I know it frustrates everybody. But basically, we'll talk Meta, because that's what we think everyone should be using. TikTok is kind of disrupted the industry because they created the first ever interest-based algorithm, meaning they're going to show your content to people who are interested in what you're talking about. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. You can have one follower on TikTok and make a video that has millions of views because it's based on interest. So that's why they've taken so much market share over the last 4 or 5 years. But Facebook and Instagram, Meta, their algorithm is more based on your followers and who is engaging with you regularly. So right now, if you make a text post, there's 4 types. We talked about them earlier. If you make a text post, about 3 to 4% of your followers will see that. If you make a image or graphic, about 5 to 6% of your followers will see that. If you make a video, maybe 7 to 10% of your followers will see that. And if you do a live video, 10 to 15% they'll show that too. So what they do is they show this. They want the platform to be as addictive as possible. They will show this to as many people, or they will show this to a sample size audience. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my iPad back on. They'll show it to a sample size audience of your most loyal people who have in the past liked your stuff, shared your stuff, engaged with your stuff, stayed and watched a video on your page. They're going to show it to your most loyal followers first. Then if in the first 2 to 3 hours of that content being posted, a good percentage of those people like, comment, and share, that tells the algorithm this is interesting content. So they'll open it up to a bigger audience. If it happens again, that's when you can get organic reach. It's very rare today, especially on Meta properties. That's why you have to have a paid strategy in your repertoire. So let's move on.
I think that share piece.
Please.
Just real quick. I think the share piece kind of gets overlooked. People want to see a lot of comments. They want to see a lot of likes on their stuff. But nowadays, especially within Meta, the more shares you get, the
100%.
more that's going to get pushed out.
It's the highest value in their algorithm.
Yep. And it's not just because they're sharing it with their friends and stuff. It's just now Meta's like, okay, this is shareable content, and that's.
And especially if people share outside of the platform. So somebody shares it via text or shares it via Messenger and not just on their timeline or on their story, that even tells the algorithm this was such interesting content that people texted it to their friends or emailed it to somebody. And so it's something to watch for. How many people are sharing my stuff? That's why a lot of times when you see giveaways, people will say like and share our stuff, because that kind of propels the algorithm. All right, so I know we're getting short on time. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I want to kind of close this all down, and we're going to have Q&A. So if you want to know more specific drill down, you can ask questions, or if you want to stick around afterwards, I'm sure any of these guys would be happy to answer questions. But I want to talk a little about running ads. Okay, how many of you would say that right now you have a budget every month that you are allocating towards running ads on social media? Just the three of us. Just the three of us.
All right. Maybe we can change that today.
So let's change that today. All right, let's change that today. And I'm going to let Steve really hone in on this one because, again, from what I understand, Steve's company is spending upwards of $10,000 a month on social media.
It's actually about doubled that at this point.
Okay, so $20,000 a month. Some of us are like, I would love to have $20,000 a month in revenue, but they've seen such a value in especially meta ads.
Yes.
Right now, my opinion is, and Steve, you can disagree if you like, but my opinion is, in the world of advertising, there is nothing dollar for dollar more valuable than Facebook ads right now. Not Google ads,
Wholeheartedly agree.
Facebook ads is really where it's at right now. You should be running some ads. And so, first of all, Steve, what are some of the key elements that you think that make an ad work? So the creative, the targeting, the headline, like what are some of the key elements? Because sometimes people get intimidated. And we're not talking boosting either. There's a time to boost. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's more just for your organic content because you want more people to see it. Yeah. But we're talking about selling something. We're telling you about visit a website, click this link, go to this QR code, whatever it is. Like we have a specific call to action. What are some of the key elements that you do to make an ad really work?
So the first off, if creative is king. Creative is always king. Well, actually, pre-iOS 14 update, it was targeting was king, but now targeting, who cares? Creative is king. And I think key is to have creative velocity is one of the things that we found has led us to a lot of success. We're putting out between 15 and 30 new advertisements on the Meta platform. That's weekly.
Yeah.
That's weekly. So that's iteration. So what we do is we come up with different concepts, and then and like I said earlier, we use static ads to come up with the concepts to figure out the hooks that work, and then we'll iterate on that, and we'll make just like a 15-second video or a 30-second, or we've got so much like B-roll footage and old content and stuff that we can pretty much iterate really quickly. Yeah, and I know that the first 2 seconds to 3 seconds of a video, that's going to be where you want to hook people in. And sure. I'm actually a big believer in like multiple hooks. If you're running a video ads, that's where you want to get to. You want to use your static ads to tell you, okay, this is giving me the KPIs that I'm looking for, the key performance indicators. Yeah. And now I want to use that angle. We found that talking to the customers about the performance of the benefits of the product plus the fragrance, not the performance alone or the fragrance alone, the performance plus fragrance.
Combo.
Yep, the combo of those are the angles that's really working for us currently. And that changes though. You got to keep your eye on these metrics.
And that's why analytics, we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah.
Analytics are so important to look into. If you have a Facebook business page, you automatically get access to
the best analytics, in my opinion.
So good. So detailed.
In the world. Yeah.
So detailed.
But on those analytics, being able to measure those, that's the most important, in my opinion, is the API setups that you need to get, that's actually telling the platform where your sales are actually coming from. That will tell you which ad is performing the best, and then that's when you can start scaling it. Yeah. Knowing your numbers, knowing when am I profitable, what sort of return do I need in order to scale this? Because once you get past that, it's free money.
Correct.
So now if you find out that you need a 1.5 return on ad spend, and you're getting 1.6, and 1.6, let's say 2, because you need a little space to scale. But at that point, you're dealing with free money. You just keep throwing money at it in small increments because you can break the algorithm, you can break the ad.
Sure.
But you start slowly scaling that up until you see those performance metrics start to drop, and that's how we've hit the numbers that we're at because you're dealing with free money.
So I would say this with confidence that there's probably nobody sitting here today, and probably very few people watching online that have right now a $10,000 a month ads budget. And there was a time when Lockhart's didn't have that, right?
Yeah.
But you've gotten to that point through this use of social media. But let's say a small brick and mortar, local small business, like many of the people here today, they have $500 that they're going to allocate. Like that $500 is lifeblood to their business, but they're going to allocate it towards social media ads, Facebook ads specifically, because they believe what we're saying. What would be some advice you'd give them to use that $500?
Okay, first off, I got to ask you a question.
Okay.
Does that also include the budget of creating the advertisement?
This is just for the ad.
Okay,
just
just
the
the ad that you're running.
Just the ad.
Okay.
They have a great video that is made, or this
It's ready
great
to go. They got their
piece, but they just
creatives.
don't know where to take and put this $500.
Okay, so first off, I would use multiple different tests. I would run a couple different ad sets, but I would be targeting. So it's a service base.
Let's say
Local
it's a
business.
retail. Let's say it's a local retail business.
Okay.
They sell online and in store.
Oh, they sell online too.
Yeah.
Oh man, now you're making this really interesting. Okay, so now we're gonna have at least 2 ad sets or 2 campaigns here. We're gonna at least have one campaign for the local business, and we're gonna have another campaign for the e-commerce business.
Yeah.
And one's gonna get bigger naturally. Well, honestly, hopefully the e-commerce one gets.
That's always great if you
There's
can
a lot
sell
more
more out
people.
the back door than the front door. Yeah.
Yep. But we're gonna with the local business. First off, targeting just pinpoint. Obviously, if you're servicing, say you're servicing an area that's within a 30-mile radius of where you're working, you need to know your what sort of customer what their avatar is. But really, right now we can go a lot more broad. But if you got $500, we got $500. We're gonna do some targeting.
Yeah.
You're gonna come up with an advertisement that really hits. It's really simple. You want it to be really direct. Don't use any fancy words like we're gonna just if you sell garage doors, say we fix leaky garage doors. Something simple. Get the message
Easy to
across,
understand.
but entertain them just enough at the very beginning with a strong enough hook that sucks people into it.
Yeah.
Now when we're doing e-commerce, man, I'm trying to figure out what kind of business this is that we're running. Garage doors. All right, we're selling service equipment for the garage doors.
Yeah.
I go more broad. When it goes e-commerce, we're going to go a lot more broad because Meta can now kind of figure out who the audience is.
Yep.
And you're really testing using the creative that you're running.
So what Steve is describing here is what we call A/B testing, right? You're going to run 2 ads at the same time, the same budget, with maybe different targets, different call to action, different caption. It might even be the same ad creative, might be the same video, might be the same image, whatever. But I would say if you have 500, take 50 on 2 ads, right? Put 50 on both of them, run them for 3 days, 5 days at the max, and then see how they perform. The ad that's performing better at the end of that 3 to 5 day span, put the other 400 on that ad, and that's where you put your money, right? See which one's working better. And so, listen, Facebook ads might seem intimidating. You could literally go to ChatGPT and say, I have a bakery and I sell this and I want to run an ad. I want to reach Shiawassee County, Michigan in the month of July 2025. To give it as much information, tell me the parameters I should run for my ad, and it will give you some really, really good stuff.
It'll make an ad for you.
It'll make the ad
You
for
can even, I mean, trust me, I use ChatGPT
religiously
all day, every day.
Yeah.
It is my personal assistant.
Yeah.
And I'll even tell it, I'll even have ChatGPT. I've actually trained it to understand the Lockhart's products. You can do that with ChatGPT. And they're even using their deep research tool. It's incredible. I've had it do deep research on the Lockhart's brand, and it knows that I started making hair products in my kitchen,
Yeah,
and that I
it's
pissed
crazy.
off my wife. It's wild. But I can just tell it, like, come up with 10 different ideas for advertisements, and it starts spitting them out, and it'll even spit out different images.
Yep.
And now you can then take that and
manipulate it.
Yeah.
And so, like, let's say you just want to get more people into your brick and mortar, and you know that the people who tend to shop at your brick and mortar are mostly women between the ages of 25 and 50. That's super easy to know. You can really target every single person in Shiawassee County that has Facebook that is 25 to 50 and is female. Like, you can get that specific with it. If you know there's a certain part of town that buys from me, you can target a neighborhood. You can put a pin there and say 1 mile radius, and only the people in that area will see your ad. So it's pretty specific.
And make sure that the creative talks to a pain point that you know.
Correct.
That you know that avatar, that customer avatar,
So
has.
can a person have a successful ad with bad creative?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a whole bunch in my ads manager right now that I was just like, there's no way this is going to work well. There was a company that we worked with a while back that was generating ads for us because we couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
And some of the ads are just terrible. But what's working right now is stuff that looks more organic in your feed.
Yeah.
So there were some that it was like the image was off center, the coloring was just way off. It was like really washed out. But then they just put like a really small, almost like a user generated content type style. They just put something over top of it. Like, I just used this product and it's the best I've ever used. Something simple, you know?
Yep.
And somehow we're getting a 3-to-1 return on ad spend on it. And I'm just like, how?
Because you never know what it is that's catching people's eye in that moment. And like Steve said, it changes all the time. And, you know, the last part we wanted to talk about, which we're not going to really go deep into, we can talk to you about it after if you want. We're respectful of your time. But really, it's the analytics. Like, Casey is a big numbers guy here at AZ. He loves to, matter of fact, just yesterday we sat down with a client, and we've done their social media now for 3 months, and they weren't sure what they were getting out of it, but we were able to, through the analytics, show them exactly what's happening, and they were so encouraged leaving here. And so what the analytics will do, it's super specific. It should dictate your strategy for the next quarter or the next month or whatever, and you should always look at it. You have to look at it every day. But if your strategy goes by month or by quarter, that's how often you should look at it. The more you look at it, the better, because it will dictate how you react. But those analytics, which any three of us would be happy to sit down with you and show you how to dig into your analytics and read them and what they mean. If you're unsure, obviously talk to AZ. We're happy to sit down, free consultation, and help you. And if there's some things we can do to help you as well, then we're happy to do that. So before we open up to Q&A, just, you know, give us a 60-second, you know, what's something you want to tell the audience in 60 seconds of why they should be using social media, ads, organic, whatever you want to say. What's the 60-minute pitch on why they should be doing social media? 60 seconds, not minutes.
Yeah, we ain't got
Thank
60
you.
minutes,
Thank
buddy. We got daughters we got to take care of. It's no, it is as simple as what Steve and I have been talking about here. You can't continue to grow unless you actually try, right? One of my favorite quotes, you know this, do or do not, there is no try. Master Yoda. But it's informed decision making based off the analytics and the numbers that you're getting in. Not everybody is a huge numbers guy. We're full of creatives here, and some of the best creatives in all of the land. Take those strengths that you have, accentuate them. But no matter what, you absolutely have to take the information and the data that's coming in and use that to inform how you do things further down the line. Whether that be we need to spend more in ads, we need to put more effort towards our creative. Your numbers will tell you exactly what you need to know. Okay. And I'll stand on business to that. So, Steve, you got 60 seconds. Wrap it up.
I agree with what he said. The analytics, it's really boring, but it's really interesting once you dig into it. For the creative types, for a lot of social medias, it's all creative, but once you dig into it and you start looking at the return on ad spend, ROAS, that's a huge one. Your click-through rates, your customer acquisition cost, all of those are important to know if you're running a successful ad campaign or not. And that's how you start scaling. So you reach a point where the organic sales they level off and you can't continue to grow it. And that's where Facebook ads in particular, meta ads, really can come into play. And I said free money earlier. It's not free money. It's never free. You have to spend your money on it. But if you think about it, for every dollar you're putting in, you're getting $2 in return. Anybody with sense, as long as you know that that's profitable, you got to know your numbers. Like I guess that's a big piece. Yep. But then also know the long-term value. So there is a point where some industries you need to be a little bit more aggressive, and you might even lose money on your first sale. But if you know your long-term value, if you know that customer is going to continue to buy from you for years and years and years to come, then you know that you can really scale up what you're running in your ads manager.
So I would say, start doing something today. Stop making excuses of why you don't have the time or you don't understand. I don't know what to do. Like, just start doing something. Make a video. Like, you have this product, put your camera out, put it in your face, and just talk about what you do.
The best performing ad that I've ever had, I had no ideas. I was just shot. I had nothing. So I went into my back patio, took a picture of one of our colognes, and just held it in my hand, snapped a picture of it. That was it. And I literally just ran that as an advertisement. Yeah. And I think I got 4-to-1 on that thing for like a month.
Right.
Yeah. Just snapping a picture. It was one of the best performing ads I ever had. And it's just because I was like, well, this is going to be a stupid ad. No one's going to like it, but I got to
never
test
know.
something.
So do something. Do something. I would say get really committed to making organic content before you drill down into ads. But start doing something today, and it's going to help.
Casey's posting social
Listen,
media.
I know everybody's struggling. I know everyone's tight. Business is tight. The economy's bad. But if you're not utilizing social media actively and aggressively, then you have no excuse. If your business fails and you didn't post about it, you didn't tell people about it, you didn't show people what you do or tell people, you have a captive audience out there. Start doing something today. Of course, as I said a million times, if you need help, come talk to us. We're happy to help you. We want to see you grow. But it is such a inexpensive way to get the word out about what you do. So start doing something today.
Use that organic content that you're posting. Use that as a testing platform for your paid ads that you're going to be running, because that's going to tell you what people resonate with, and then you can put a little bit of money behind it.
Yeah, and that's why I think getting honed in on that is important, because you can throw a lot of money at the wall and then not do anything for you. So understanding what he's talking about will really help inform that. So I want to give a few minutes here. Micah has a microphone. I think, where's Micah? Oh, he's over there.
That's the perfect name
Beth
for a
has
guy
a
with
microphone.
microphone.
Who has a question? Just about, it could be just about social media in general. Maybe it's something specific to your business, something you'd like to know or understand more, and you can pick any of the three of us. Who has a question?
Is there such a thing about too much posting?
I don't think so. Some of the biggest competitors,
Like overloading the algorithm?
I mean, maybe if you're posting like 20 a day, I'd say, oh God, I'd keep it to under 3 posts a day.
I'm a car salesman, so posting 1,000 cars a day isn't really
that's too
gonna
much.
benefit.
So to answer you, Jeffrey, again, it's a little bit platform dependent. So TikToks you could throw out all day, every day,
You can throw
and have
50
no
a day
problem
at
with
TikTok.
it. For meta properties, which are probably best for you in the car business, it hits your demographic the best. Like Steve said, no more than 3 a day, but
But you can use your stories. That's where you can just honestly blow that up. You can do pictures in your stories. I mean, if you got 15 used cars that just hit the lot. I used to sell cars, and I actually used Instagram when I started selling cars. 15 years ago. But no, it couldn't have been. It doesn't matter. But no, you make like 1 or 2 posts, and then use your stories. Keep your stories going as much as you possibly can.
Yes.
I actually
Always have a story.
that way you're popping up at the top of people's feeds, whether you popped into their feed or not. They'll see your face up top.
Correct. The stories is not just so people can go look at them. They might not even, but the more you have stories active, the more your little avatar or your little profile picture is going to show up at the top when people open up their phones.
And make sure that profile image is
Looks
memorable.
good. Yes. Well, and my answer to that question is no. I would say whatever is sustainable for you. Some people get aggressive. I'm going to post 10 times a day, and then they do it for 2 weeks, and like I can't keep up with it. And then the lack of consistency, the algorithms see that. So think about, what can I realistically do over time? But if you do 2 posts a day on Facebook, that also goes to Instagram, so that's 4 posts. You do 3 stories on Facebook and Instagram, that's 6 more. That's 10 posts a day right there. And so you got to look at it as not 10 separate pieces of content, but maybe 3 or 4 pieces of content to go to multiple platforms, and you're getting yourself out there. So great question.
And do some. If you're a comedian, there is a used car salesman that I follow on social media. I don't know his
I know who
name.
you're talking about.
You know exactly who I'm talking.
Chrysler Ram guy?
Maybe.
Is he a bald-headed guy? No, he wears a hat all the time.
There's
wears
some
a hat,
great
yeah,
car
yeah.
TikTokers
He's
out
always
there.
like,
It's
he's got a Dodge Ram.
yeah.
It's a funny meme or something.
There's like a funny meme at the beginning, and then he'll be like, "Hey, I got this '08 Town and Country. Come check it out." You know, it's the silliest, stupidest thing. Sometimes it's offensive too. Like he's not afraid of any of it.
No.
But
Well,
he's
I don't think that guy sells cars anymore because he blew up so much.
yeah, now he's just making content now. Yeah, I know who you're
you
talking
go.
about. Yeah, I mean, I know a guy who literally just takes his phone, he makes videos intentionally bad. He'll shaky camera, he'll drop the phone, and he acts like it's on accident. His content is so horrible, but people watch it because of how bad it is, and he's blowing up on TikTok. So another question? Al?
do we really have to pay for advertising to get where we need to go?
That's a great
Yes.
question. I'm a firm believer in it. It depends on how far you want to grow. If you're comfortable where you're at, something that Hank Graff actually told me, the owner of Graff Chevrolet, was he thinks of business as a tomato plant. And if you're, as a tomato, if you're not growing, you're rotting on the vine. And that always stuck with me. And I was just like, I need to always figure out a way to keep growing at least a little bit incrementally. And you're going to reach a point in your business where you'll be comfortable. Maybe you're comfortable. You're generating enough profit to pay the bills, and you know everything's working. You can put some in your pocket. But eventually that will taper off, or new competition will introduce itself, and you gotta stay ahead of them. It depends on how far you want to go. Really.
Right.
I guess that's.
Well, and I would say too, like, can you grow your business without running ads? Yeah. Like if you have a local, Pete-away restaurant, can you grow that?
Hypothetically.
Can you grow that in Owasso without spending money on ads? Yes, absolutely. If you're posting consistent content, you guys should be posting every day, multiple times a day. In a restaurant, there's content everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah.
You might not think it's interesting to make a sandwich, but somebody will find that interesting. Flipping the grill, washing the dishes, like whatever.
That's a
like
meme right there,
like
just a picture
you
of Tony.
have content everywhere, so you should be posting every day. And you could grow a following in Owasso with no ads. But what ads will do is it's like the warp zone, right? It gets you there quicker. You skip 4 levels if you do it right. So
It also helps with consistency in
Yes.
sales too. Banking on organic to just take you to the promised land.
it's a long play.
I mean, time is money. So it's either you spend the money up front or you wait it out and try to be successful that way. I like paid ads because they're consistent though. If you're banking on organic, because I know some people that they're just like, well, all I need is that one viral video. I just need that one viral video, and they just keep shooting for it, and they spend all their time on this viral video. If you get a viral video, it's gonna explode your business. But you might as well go to the casino if that's because there's no way to plan that. And honestly, if you go viral at that point, you could go too viral. You won't be able to keep up, and now you're losing all that business and all that time and energy that you put into going viral.
Yeah.
You can't recoup.
Let's take one more question. Oh, go ahead. Did you have
No, I was going to say, so possible, maybe not the most efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just peel off a little bit of them profits. You don't have to peel it all off. You like he said, $500 a month. You can even go lower than that. Just
honestly, $50 a month for a small local area, you could do a lot of damage. You know,
with local businesses, man, you can get a big return on ad spend. It's really tough in my industry. I've got thousands of competitors, whereas you're competing with just the restaurants in your space, and you're really just competing for eyeballs at that point.
Yeah. All right, one more question. I know we're a little bit past
Taste
our
buds.
time here, so I want to give one more question. Make it a good one. Who's got it? Tristan?
You just mentioned that the your market's kind of saturated, which I would assume hair products would be a fairly saturated market. What, as far as social media and ads, what helps you what sets you apart? Like, how do you navigate that?
Well, what's always set us apart is that we're different. We're weird. And like I said earlier on,
Look at him.
I don't
And he
wear
struck it on Tumblr, too, so you
It
gotta
was
have
we
a
nailed
little
it on
luck.
Tumblr. I'm the wrong guy to ask. No,
Gotta have a little luck.
no, it's just standing out and being different. So, for example, I just got back from the CT Barber Expo, which was over this weekend, and I knew that everybody that was going, it's the biggest barber expo in the country, maybe in the world, and I knew that every single brand, all these multi-million, tens of millions of dollars in revenue kind of brands, that they were going to be there. They were all going to show up, and they were going to show up with their models, and they were going to show up looking pretty with their really nice polished booth, and it was all going to be in my just cookie cutter stuff. So I was like, all right, well, let's be weird. And I made a big giant banner with our goon character.
Where'd you get it printed?
Yeah, these guys printed it. Yeah, these guys made me an 8 foot by 20 banner.
Shameless plug.
Yep. Yeah, the thing.
It was
man,
huge.
It cost me $100 extra to carry that thing onto the flight with me. By the way,
humongous.
it was so heavy. Yeah. So anyway, I made this big noisy banner, big bright yellow banner with our characters. We've got our goon characters as our mascots. They're these like Ed Roth looking characters with their eyes bulging out of their head. They're green, red, blue. Yeah, there's stickers. We'll get you guys some stickers on the way out. So I plastered that all over everything. I even made a 5-foot by 8-foot banner that stood up that people could see when they entered into the. We weren't near the front, but you could see it from the front when you walked in. And it had our main mascot. He was like a barber, and he was sawing the head off of the customer that's sitting in his chair. So it's with a chainsaw instead of using scissors. And everyone else around us, they got barbers and they're doing fun things like that. And I did like a little hole cut out so all the kids could come over and get their heads cut off by our mascot. And we also put on a demonstration showing how to make our products, and which nobody else did. And actually nobody else there that I'm aware of actually makes their products in-house. The majority of companies like ours, they've filtered out to a lab. It's actually more cost efficient. So I put on a demonstration, and I didn't make the products though. I just kept yelling at people in the crowd and saying, "Hey, get over here! I want you to make this for me." And they were tossing the ingredients in. And I even gave them my power tools, which I really shouldn't have.
Chemical
but
burns.
Oh yeah. We yeah, it was a little sketchy at times, but we just tried to just figure out what everyone else is doing and don't do that. Do something completely different, because we've seen it before. We've all seen it before. And there's brands that try coming into my space that they just try to do the exact same thing that every other brand that's making millions of dollars selling. You'll see on Amazon that Suavecito is one of our big competitors. You'll see that they're selling 10,000 units a month of this one particular product. So they just try to make something similar to that. Well, guess what? They don't sell a damn thing. They don't sell anything because Suavecito is already doing that. You're competing with the biggest one.
Right.
So do something a little different.
And so, guys, really, that's what Brand Out is all about. The name of our company is azeebrandingolutions, but why we did a podcast called Brand Out, because it's a play on the word stand out. And what you are going to have to do if you're going to win in business, you're going to have to find a way to stand out from the crowd. If you're just trying to be like everybody else around you and you have no edge, you either have to have a better product or a better price, or maybe just better marketing or different marketing, a different approach. How are you standing out from the other people that are in the same industry as you? And so we do podcast episodes every week on different brands that we like, brands that we hate. I encourage you to go watch that, subscribe to it. If you have an idea of something you'd like to hear us talk about, whether it be a topic or whether it be a brand you'd like us to break down, let us know. Steve, I really appreciate you coming today and sharing your knowledge. He's going to stick around if you guys want to ask him more questions. Casey, it's always great. I appreciate you sharing your knowledge as well. And we appreciate you being here today. And grab some pita way on the way out. And if you haven't been there, you must go. It is fantastic food. You will like it.
Can I do a quick shout out to my daughters? It was my youngest. It's her last day of school today.
Please.
And my daughter, Mina, Sylvia, Daddy loves you. They're very excited that Daddy's going to be on YouTube today. So they both been wanting to make a YouTube channel. So
to my kids at home, your chores better be done before I get there. So, all right. Well, thank you guys for coming. Thank you for joining us. And as always, make sure you're doing something to make your brand stand out, and we'll see you next time. Thank you guys for coming. We appreciate it.
If you enjoyed this content, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. We want to connect with you. Drop a comment, share your thoughts, and let us know what brands you want us to break down next. Follow us on social media for more branding insights, and remember, keep building, keep branding, and always brand out.